TED Talks are recorded live at the TED Conference. This episode features the writer John Hodgman. Here's John Hodgman.
You all know this story. In the summer of 1950, Enrico Fermi, the Italian-American physicist and atomic pile builder, went to lunch at Los Alamos National Laboratory and joined some colleagues there and asked them a question: where is everybody? This confused his colleagues, obviously, because they were sitting right there with him. And then he had to clarify that he wasn't talking about them, he was talking about the space aliens. You see, this was only a few years after the supposed flying saucer crash at Roswell, New Mexico. And even though that turned out to be nothing at all, merely a downed weather balloon piloted by small hairless men with slits for mouths, still America had gone saucer mad, even famous scientists who were eating lunch. Fermi's reasoning, if I may paraphrase badly, is that the universe is so vast that it stands to reason there should be other intelligent life out there, and the universe is so old that unless we were the very first civilization ever to evolve, we should have some evidence of their existence by now. And yet, to the best of our knowledge, we are alone. Where is everybody? Asked Fermi, and his colleagues had no answer. Fermi then went on with the same blunt logic to disprove fairies, Sasquatch, God, the possibility of love, and thereafter, as you know, Enrico Fermi ate alone. Now, I am not a scientist. I have never built an atomic pile, although I might argue that technically every pile is atomic. However, with respect, I might point out two possibilities that Enrico Fermi perhaps did not consider. One is that the aliens might be very far away, perhaps, I dare say, even on other planets. The other possibility is perhaps Enrico Fermi himself was an alien. Think about it. Isn't it a little convenient that in the midst of the World War, out of nowhere, suddenly an Italian scientist showed up with an amazing new technology that would transform everything in the world and darken our history of the human species forever after? And isn't it a little strange that he required no payment for this? That he asked for only one thing, a gift of 2 healthy sperm whales? That's not true, but it is strange. And if Enrico Fermi was indeed a space alien, wouldn't he be the first who would try to convince his fellow scientists that the space aliens are not already here? For it is given in certain UFOlogy or ufology circles that the aliens are already here and have been for millennia, that they have walked among us in disguise, observing us, guiding our evolution from ape to man, if you believe in that sort of thing, and occasionally kidnapping us in their flying saucers and taking us away to have sex with us in pyramids. It's a difficult theory to discount. I think you'll agree. For even in my own life, there are memories I have that are difficult to explain, happenings that are so odd and unaccountably weird that it is difficult to imagine they were not the result of prolonged and frequent contact with aliens throughout my life. For how else will you explain the amazing and absolutely true close encounters that I had and will describe to you now? Encounter 1, Ocean City, New Jersey, 1980. This was the summer when the special edition of Close Encounters of the Third Kind was released, and I went on vacation with my parents to the Jersey Shore. Within 12 hours, I was horribly sunburned, just like Richard Dreyfuss in the movie. And so I spent the rest of the vacation largely sitting outside our little rental house at night, the sidewalk still warm from the sun, watching the skies for UFOs. What did I see? Stars, satellites, blinking airplanes, typical sky junk. Occasionally, kids would come and join me and watch, but their necks soon got sore and they would go off to the boardwalk to play video games and mingle with humans. I was pretty good at the video games. I was not very good at the other part, so I stayed alone with the cosmos. And that's when it happened. An elderly couple came walking down the street. I would say they were in their late 70s. And I would say that they were on a date because he was wearing a very neat little suit with a yellow tie, brown suit, and she was wearing a cardigan because it was now fully night now, and a chill was coming in off the ocean. I remember for some reason that they were exactly the same height. And then they stopped, and the man turned to me and said, "What are you looking for? Flying saucers?" I have to admit, that's a pretty boss piece of detective work for an old man on a date. But what was stranger still, and even I realized it at the time as a 9-year-old child, was that they stopped at all, that this old man would interrupt his moonlight stroll with his sweetheart with the precise reason of making fun of a child. "Oh," he said, "little green men." And then his girlfriend joined in too. "There's no such thing as spacemen," she said. "There's no such thing." And then they both laughed. Ha, ha, ha. I looked around. The street was entirely empty. I had stopped hearing the sound of the ocean. It was as though time had stopped. I did not know why they were teasing me. I looked into their strangely angry faces, and I remember wondering, are they wearing rubber masks? And what would be behind those rubber masks if they were? Giant almond-shaped, unblinking eyes? Slits for mouths? The old man crooked his finger as though he were firing a gun, and then he made laser sounds. "Q, Q, Q, watch out!" And they turned at once and walked away. The old man reached out his knobbly claw for the woman's hand and found it and left me alone. Now, you could describe this as a simple misunderstanding, a strange encounter among humans. Maybe it was swamp gas, but I know what I saw. Close Encounter 2, Brookline, Massachusetts, 1984. I went to see the movie Dune, and a girl talked to me. Now, on its face, this is impossible on its face, I realize, but it is absolutely true. It was opening night, naturally. I went with my friend Tim McGonigal, who sat on my left. On my right was the girl in question. She had long, curly black hair, a blue jean jacket. I remember she had some sort of injury to her ankle, an ace bandage, and she had crutches. She was very tall. I would say, I was starting high school at the time, I would say she was a junior, but I had never seen her before. She didn't go to my school. I didn't know her name, and I never will.